just live from day to day. I don't borrow from the sunshine, for the skies may turn to gray. And I don't worry about the future, for I know what Jesus said. And today I walk beside him, for he knows what lies ahead. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand.
I like it country, y'all.
Every step is getting brighter as the golden stairs I climb. Every burden's getting lighter, and every cloud is silver lined. Where the sun is always shining, there no tear will dim the eye. At the ending of the rainbow, where the mountains touch the sky. Anything about tomorrow, I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. But I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my
Now, we know that curveballs are both unforeseen disruptions to normalcy as well as opportunities to trust God more. How should we respond to them? Well, before we discuss how we should respond, let's look at a few time-wasting ways that we shouldn't respond to curveballs. Now, I mentioned in the second episode how these unforeseen normalcy disruptors can bring anxiety and stress along with them. That's because we're creatures of comfort. And get this, we feel entitled to certainty and predictability. The moment when there's a disruption in our certainty and our predictability and our normalcy, we make it our aim to try and provide a way to return to normalcy. But here's the thing, we never really return to normalcy. Think of it this way. A few years ago, we were experiencing a global pandemic. In addition to the nearly 400,000 lives lost in our country alone, that year disrupted the normalcy of millions. Now, the Mayo Clinic published an article not too long ago that said worldwide surveys had been done in the years 2020 and 2021. And within those surveys, they found higher than typical levels of stress, insomnia, anxiety, and depression. By 2022, those levels had lowered, but were still higher than before 2020. Why were those levels of stress still high in 2022 compared to pre-pandemic? Because the level of disruption was so pronounced that even when things lightened, we didn't return to normal. We simply adjusted to the new normal. And that's what makes a curveball so profound. On the other side of one, we never really return to the old normal. We just simply adjust to the new one. But hear me when I say this. If there is something that would delay or forfeit that adjustment to a new normal, it's impatience. Impatience is what I like to describe as the ultimate perspective robber. Why do I say that? Because it will have you stuck asking the same question over and over and over without any answers. Questions like, how did I get here? Where did I go wrong? And the most diabolical question of them all, how long will this last? There's nothing wrong with asking those questions initially, nothing wrong with it. But they are time wasting responses to a curveball. Time wasting responses to a curveball. James underscores the importance of patience as he nears the close of his letter. Look at James chapter 5, verse 7 and 8. He says this, therefore, brothers and sisters, be patient until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth and is patient with it until it receives the early and the late rains. You also be patient. Strengthen your hearts because the Lord's coming is near. Now notice that James says twice in these two verses to be patient. Verse 7, he says, be patient until the Lord's coming. Now, he could be saying, hey, wait until the rapture before, but he also could be referring to the Lord's coming, intervening in their circumstance. Either way, it requires patience. But what's interesting is that he then refers to a farmer's patience as he waits on both the early and late rains. Why is that? Because the early and late rains are critical for the maturation of the crop. And clock watching is the absolute last thing we should do when there's a disruption in our normalcy. There's this perspective that God wants us to see when normalcy is disrupted. And we miss that perspective when we're impatient. Now, hear me when I say this. This is going to sound heavy. But our patience or lack thereof, doing a curveball, will directly impact our maturation in Christ-likeness. This is why I said in the previous video, James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4 was a lens for me. Verse 4, look at what it says. And let endurance, and in some translations, it actually says patient. Let endurance have its full effect that you might be mature and complete, lacking nothing. I'll repeat, our patience or lack thereof during a curveball will directly impact our maturation in Christ-likeness. So what are some God-honoring ways to respond to curveballs? Join me in the next episode.